This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. This is Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut celebrates its 20th anniversary this year. And I have a woman on the phone who, I'll be quite frank, from seeing pictures of her, I think her face is too beautiful to only just hear her voice. But nonetheless, I have the woman who voiced Winona Ryder in the movie, as well as contribute voices to various South Park episodes. I have the lovely and beautiful Toddy Walters. How do you do, Toddy?
Well, hello, Greg. Hi. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the nice words. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, I've seen some pictures of you, and like you're stunning.
Wow. Well, I really like you. Hired.
Huh?
You're hired.
I'm hired, huh? Well, I just wonder before we got going about South Park, I just wonder if I could get some of your background.
Sure. Well, let's see. I, was born in Denver, Colorado, and have been an actor and a singer-songwriter, and since I was a kid. And I found myself doing a year of college in Boulder in 1993, and that's where I met Trey Parker and Matt Stone and Jason McHugh, and a bunch of people involved in the film school there. And so I had already lived in Los Angeles once when I was 18 for about a year and a half, and I moved home because of a family emergency. And so I ended up not going back to LA for another 8 years. So any chance I could do any kind of film work, I was on it. And so I found out about the Cannibal the musical, and therefore I was able to audition for it, and I got the role of Polly Pry, and that was amazing and fun, and it led me to work with Trey and Matt for the next few years on different projects, including Orgazmo, that classic film, and also the voice of Winona Ryder on the South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut movie. I was also the production office coordinator for that film, which by then I had moved to Los Angeles in 1998. So I was really lucky to get a job pretty much right away and be involved in the process of the filmmaking and meet the most incredible group of animators and voiceover talent and rock stars. It was just really, really amazing. And so since then, I concentrated on just music solely for many years. I lived in Los Angeles for 13 years, and I moved back home to Denver in 2011. And so I basically have done a lot of different musical projects. I've sung on commercials. I have collaborated with different music producers in LA. Back then, I sang on the score for John Carpenter's last film called The Ward that came out a few years back, and that was exciting and awesome. And then when I returned to Colorado, I started a real passion project of mine, a total labor of love, and that is the Amy Winehouse tribute band that I founded and did for about 4 years, and we had a really great run. It was really awesome. I turned it into more of a cabaret performance, and the band was stellar. I loved playing her. I felt like, man, if she's not here to do it, someone needs to do it. And so the whole concept of the Winehouse, we're called Winehouse, was that Amy was now in heaven. So I monologue in between songs, and I talk about what it's like to be in heaven, and have a rent-controlled apartment down in hell where it's gentrifying quickly, and so all the people I can meet in heaven that are in the 27 Club as well. So anyhow, I put that on some hiatus for now, and I did a film a couple of years ago that was directed by a local director, writer called Scott Douglas Brown, and this film has just been released on Amazon on November 30th, and it's called Stadium Anthems.
Mm-hmm.
And I play the lead character. And I also got to put a bunch of my music in the film, as well as sing on pretty much about 25 songs on the album. That was exciting, and I'm really happy to have been able to do that, and I hope it leads to more. So that's kind of my background in a nutshell.
Well, it's interesting because I remember when the South Park movie came out, and I saw it with an acquaintance of mine, and I remember when they were making the comments about the war against Canada, states' war against Canada. He was like, he just kind of like shrugged in his seat, and I'm like, it's interesting how Canada loved it, but yet, and I know you're an American, but you make that about the United States, and there'd be controversy.
I think it's just genius. I mean, it's just the funniest thing, because Canada, I mean, comparative to the United States, is somewhat of like a Switzerland. Mm-hmm. And it has this, reputation of just being very controlled and neutral and diplomatic, and and of course now the relevancy it precedes itself because of the fact that Trump would probably want to go to war with Canada.
Well, you know what? We don't like him here either, so...
Well, really, I would imagine not.
Yeah.
Kind of unpopular.
I've had a few interview guests. I've apologized about some of his actions, but, I don't get it, but I find it, like they're talking about Oprah running next to him next year or whenever, and I'm like, why is it that people are so obsessed with voting for celebrities? Why not vote for somebody that can actually do the job?
Right. I mean, that's just a symptom of the kind of society that the United States has kind of spearheaded, and that is of, the and I hate going into politics. I don't know a ton, but it just seems that we've caught ourselves up in just pure self-aggrandizing capitalistic greed, and have lost sight of what makes us great in the first place, which is we are here to help and be a presence in the world that's peaceful. I mean, obviously that hasn't been represented very well since we've been a country, but anyhow, this whole obsession with celebrity is just, it's weird. It's weird.
Well, I find that whole red carpet and the Oscars and stuff like that, I find it's now become a popularity contest, because I read a post by somebody last night. Apparently they're cutting the cinematography and film editing or something. They're cutting a couple of things off the tele broadcast
portion of the Oscars.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but what an insult to those people that are doing that kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Those are the people that make films great. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you have a great film and you have a terrible cinematographer or a terrible editor, that movie's going to be crap.
Yep.
Point blank.
Well, I quit watching the Oscars last year after James Franco was snubbed for the Disaster Artist. He was brilliant in it. Yeah, he won the Golden Globe, and then they snubbed him because of the Me Too movement. And the thing is about the Me Too movement, even Alison Brie, who I don't know whether she's a fiance or married to Dave Franco, but she said a lot of these accusations have not been proven. So I just throw my hands up and saying, what is this,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's another whole crazy little rabbit hole to go down, is the movement. It's it really has kind of demonized people that, like, my example is Aziz Ansari. who had an unfortunate date gone wrong with the woman. In my perspective, and I don't know what went on, but the fact that this one person came out and that was it just showed that it's a sign of the times where you have to be very careful. You just have to be very, very precious, and people are precious, but I don't know. I feel like we tend to villainize, and of course, we have been waiting for this opportunity to be like, okay, thank you. Finally, we're being listened to, but that can go both ways, you know.
Yep. But you know, it's funny because South Park is one of these shows that really spits in the face of these issues, you know, and really makes something of it. And I love the fact, because I talk about The Simpsons going on for as long as they have. I mean, The Simpsons, I think it was 1989 and still going. And South Park is not that far behind. I think, what was it, 1997 or something like that?
I believe so, yeah.
And still going. And I love the fact they're not afraid to tackle issues, you know. And I love the whole thing as Mr. Garrison going for presidency, and they had him all done up like Trump.
It's so awesome. It's just the way that they can turn it around so quickly and jump on the topical events so accurately and so funny, and also make you think. And it never stops. I mean, it's just like an endless cycle of wonderful creativity. I think it's genius.
Yeah. Well, I think my favorite South Park character is Mr. Garrison. I think he's pretty funny. Although I got to admit, the PC Principal I like an awful lot too, who's been added in recent years. Who are your favorite characters?
Well, you know, I actually have not watched South Park in many years. I did voiceover on the show for the first 2 seasons, and then I watched a little here and there, but I just got kind of out of watching television for a really long time.
Yeah.
But I did one. I have a favorite character that I actually played, and it was I think it was the 2nd season, and the episode was called Rainforest Schmainforest.
Okay.
Which had Jennifer Aniston as the lead, and she played a teacher who takes a group of singing kids, kind of like up with people, to the Costa Rican rainforest.
Okay.
And anyway, so the character Penny had me as a girlfriend in this one episode, and her name was Kelly, and it was just funny because I was able to do these really dramatic lines, and they pitched up my voice, and this little girl was just like very dramatic and talking, and you know, always picking her nose, and it was just really funny. It was so fun to do, and I think it was just kind of an enchanting time it was an enchanting opportunity for me to do that. It was really cool. So, yeah. I just am not too familiar with South Park recently at all.
Well, you know, I enjoyed the movie very much. And, of course, I love the fact that Canada was part of that movie. And, again, you know, Canada loved it. That song, Blame Canada, and all that. And Terrence and Phillip, and the movie Asses of Fire.
It really is. It's so fun.
The whole thing with Saddam Hussein and Satan. That was pretty daring stuff, especially since The Interview got pulled from theaters because of the whole threats, and yet South Park got away with it.
Yes, I know. It's so insane. Perhaps, I suppose, that's another sign of the times, but also the fact that it's animated. But, man, and then... yeah, in Team America, that's just really crazy. But I still today know a few of the animators that have been there, you know, for at least one that I know has been there since its inception. My good friend Jack Shee, and he's amazing. And now he I think he runs the animation department. But without people like that, I think I can't say this for sure, but I think that the talent that they get, they retain for many years because it's a solid job. And I think that Trey and Matt really like to be able to trust people and grow with them. And so I really think it's a testament to how their employees are treated and allowed to grow and keep fresh. I think because I'm like, wow, I couldn't imagine having worked at the same place for 20 years, but that's the kind of place you can. So hopefully they can keep on going and do another film and have Winona Ryder in that one too.
I hope they do another film. How did the whole you voiced, of course, Winona Ryder in the movie, and did she ever respond to that?
I can't even. I don't know because when it came out, the internet was just burgeoning, so there was nothing like. I'm sure today, if it were to come out, she would probably respond in some manner. But I really don't know if she did. I have a feeling that with actors, it's kind of like, well, I'm an actor, but I'm kind of on the B to F list. But if they were to, I think actors would probably figure that all press is good press, even bad press is good press, and especially when it's humorous, it kind of keeps you in the public eye,
Yeah. Well, I thought her little brief scene in it, that bouncing that thing between her knees.
So funny.
It was very funny. Now, when the movie came out, there was a little controversy about it, and of course, Canada just laughed it off. But I find it funny because I think probably one of the most offensive movies I ever seen was Pearl Harbor. I hated Pearl Harbor with a passion because
really?
Oh yeah, that movie was just garbage. And I remember when it came out, I was reading a newspaper article, and I guess. I don't know whether it was a studio or somebody behind it was trying to figure out how to sell the movie to Japan. And they decided to sell it as a love story. And I'm like, are you friggin' kidding me? I found the movie racist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there was not one three-dimensional Japanese character, and it was just like, I think it was as bad as Birth of a Nation when it comes to
Wow.
discriminating a culture. So,
Well,
yeah.
I'd like to know what you think about the Isle of Dogs and its portrayal of Japanese people.
You know what? We didn't get Isle of Dogs here.
Oh, really? It didn't come out?
Yeah, like we had it advertised and had all the promotion stuff, and it never came here. And I really like Wes Anderson, but we did not get Isle of Dogs here. So I can't comment on it.
It's a very interesting movie, and I really liked it. But I kind of was wondering, they have a few, pretty nasty Japanese villains in the movie, and I just wondered how Japanese people would feel when they watched it. I thought it was a great movie. I really liked it very much. And the protagonist is a Japanese boy. But anyway, I was just thinking about that, how film has represented other cultures in general over the span of the time that film has been being made, and how crazy it is to look back at that and be like, wow, it's so different now, but in some ways it's still the same.
Well, I like movies that dare to try to do something different. So, and with so many formula storylines going, I mean, I just saw Cold Pursuit, and it's like, it just looks like every other revenge movie Liam Neeson has done, And it's like some people just aren't even trying. But then you get something like the South Park movie, where rather than just throw a plot together, they did the whole thing with Canada, and the whole war on Canada, and threw in all these cultural stuff. And I love the whole thing. They went to the movie and they examined the whole profanity issue, and I always loved Cartman and that, and Kenny going to hell, and
have to tell you that the voice type of Cartman, the whole kind of rough, almost Cajun-y kind of sounding thing, the authority and all that kind of stuff is Trey and I, back in the day, we dated for roughly 6 years. But in the very beginning, in Colorado, before they moved to LA, we had gone on a road trip all the way down to Florida, Keys. And I had relatives at that time. They're all dead now, but my great aunt and her husband, Claude, lived in Claremont. Claremont, Florida now is so much different. Back then, there was houses around lakes, and it wasn't as sort of built up as it is now. And it was kind of quaint and lovely. And anyway, my Uncle Claude has this like low voice, and he's so hard to understand because he's Cajun. He was Cajun, but I remember like when I was a kid, he'd be like, we're gonna go jump in the lake, and he's like, alligator gonna get you. And I'm like, what? I'm scared. He was a very scary but really, really cool, funny man. But anyway, Trey was really taken with his voice because you really could barely understand him, and he sounds so much like Hartman, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. Kind of an homage. I'm sure he's a collage of different characters, but that Uncle Claude is definitely one of them.
Yeah, Cartman kind of reminds me of comedian Sam Kinison as a boy.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, that's who he puts me in mind of, But yeah, I thought the movie was great, and controversy or not, at least it makes you think about a few things. And I love the fact there was a few celebrities do voices in it. I guess George Clooney, was involved, and Eric Idle, and I love the whole Conan O'Brien feels so guilty about betraying Terrence and Phillip. He throws himself out the window and lands on this car, and this guy goes out there and shuts the alarm off.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny that they could get so many great actors to do. Like, in one of the episodes of South Park, he got Robert Smith from The Cure to do a role, and it was so hilarious because he's not an actor, but it was just so dryly done. It was so funny. But the fun thing about that movie, the South Park movie, is that in the credits, I'm in the first 7 people, and I'm sandwiched between Stuart Copeland of The Police and Nick Rhodes from Duran Duran. And so I feel like I'm in good company, and I feel like, I'm pretty cool, when I see that. Not a bad place to be.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite scene in the South Park movie? Because there's so many of them.
Oh, gosh, there's so many, and it's been so long since I've actually watched it. I need to watch it again, but I don't know. There's a song in there that which character sings it? It's a really sweet, kind of almost a love song. I can't remember.
Oh, Satan sings one?
Well, Satan sings, yes. Which one is that one? That one was funny.
I don't remember. One of the ones I remember best, I think, was when the principal was singing the song to the kids about words you can use instead of profanity.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah,
I like the whole scene where Winona Ryder and others go entertain the USO.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, she was entertaining, all right.
And I love Big Gay Al. I think Big Gay Al is pretty much my favorite character.
Oh, yeah. Big Gay Al and the Big Gay Animal Farm.
Yeah. I mean, they got GLAAD awards early on because of that character. They've gotten a lot of, great feedback from the LGBTQ community based on Big Gay Al. It's awesome.
I always liked Mr. Garrison because he always protested everything, and he always had that hand puppet. I always thought Mr. Garrison to me was a character I gravitated to. I thought he was hilarious, and then he did the whole transgender thing. I don't know whether that was making fun of Bruce slash Caitlyn Jenner, but of course they did do the Caitlyn Jenner thing, so they had his backup when he ran for president. So
he's funny. Yeah, Mr. Garrison is twisted, and Trey told me that it's based on one of his teachers from high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the T is based on this character. It's hilarious.
And the
yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say the animation is so simple. It's just like circles and squares. And then you got a lot of the characters that their tops of their head and their bottom of their head sliced at the mouth, and their heads move in such awkward manner, like Terrence and Phillip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. The Terrence and Phillip characters. That type of animation Trey was doing back in college with the two head parts,
yeah,
up and down. I think it's hilarious. I think that's really groundbreaking, cool. I mean, Terrence and Phillip should have their own just show on their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another character I like too is Randy Marsh.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, that's based on his dad.
Oh, is it?
And it looks just like his dad too. He looks just like his dad.
Yeah, I just watched a Watch Mojo thing on YouTube, and it had top 10 Randy Marsh moments. Holy cow! Yeah, that.
Well, he was also in Randy Parker. His dad was also in Cannibal the musical. Did you see that?
You know what? When I was doing research on you, I had not seen that movie. I never even heard of it. Talk about that movie a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, I auditioned for it after being in college at the CU Boulder, University of Colorado at Boulder, and how I found out about it was I was doing a lot of student films for the film department as an actress, and so I met Jason McHugh, who's one of the producers of that film and also in the film. And how I found out about it was at the semester's film program, they show all the students' films, and one stood out to me, and this was a 4-minute trailer for a movie called Alfred Packer, the musical. And Alfred Packer was a historical character from Colorado that was charged with murdering his group, that they were going over to the mountains, to Colorado mountains, to Utah to go mine for gold, and they end up dying. And Alfred Packer was charged, and so anyway, so this trailer for this film was just really funny because it was this character and it was a musical, and it was just the funniest thing I had seen, and it was so clever, and so it left everyone like gibbering afterwards, like, what is that? Is that a real movie? Is really happening? It was just so, just like the South Park feature, just so out of the blue and funny, and I was like, oh my, I am going to find out how I can be in that movie, because because I heard that they were going to be making it, and I was like, I'm going to get that part. And I auditioned, and I got it. So we were filming in, I think, the summer of 93, or the summer of 93. They had been doing the film in their last, Trey and Matt and Jason, in their last semester of school, and then they finished it in the summer. And so I got to know those guys really well, and I had an opportunity to sing in the film, and I was the lead female character. There was really only one female character other than a few extras. So I learned a lot about making film, and I got to work with Robert Muratori, who was the cinematographer on that movie, and he's still He does really great work today. And so, yeah, I mean, once that movie was done, it was actually, we had gone, Trey, Matt, and I, and Jason went to Slam Dance or Sundance that year it was done, and tried to promote it, and had a couple of showings outside of, that was when Slam Dance was kind of just starting. And so we had the opportunity to use that as a way and means for them when they got to Los Angeles to show that they've done stuff. But what obviously really took their careers off was this short little Christmas video that they had made, and their lawyer at the time, and they didn't have any credits on this video. The lawyer sent it out to all of his friends for Christmas, and then their friends, all of his friends, including George Clooney, received a copy of this video, and they were like, "What? The Spirit of Christmas is what it was called, and it's just really hilarious." And so that created a buzz, just like the trailer. When I saw that at CU Boulder, this little video just made this huge wave, and it afforded them so much, and that was why they were able to then kind of move on to South Park. So Cannibal the Musical now is so kind of separate from, it's so unique from what they've done, I think, and in that it's live action, and it's just such a different early film, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. And there have been many theatrical productions of what is now called Cannibal the Musical around the world, and me and a few of the cast members that are living in Denver as well were able to go to one of these productions at a local independent theater here, and we all got to sign autographs, and it was really fun to see that play. It's so hilarious. It's just so funny to watch, and so I feel kind of proud that has been, and I think the 20th anniversary of that was last year or the year before or something. So
it would have been last year, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was last year.
Actually, it would have been the 25th anniversary.
Oh my gosh, crazy.
You followed that up with Orgazmo. Well, talk about that.
Well, Orgazmo was his first, Trey and Matt's first foray into an obsession of Trey's, which was the Mormon religion.
Yeah.
Because I think, and if you've seen the Book of Mormon, you'll know a little bit about what the religion is about, or you might know anyway. But I think Trey, a couple times when he was a kid, might have gone to the Tabernacle in Utah, and I think he was really taken aback by it because it is such a weird place. I've been there. We went together, and it was really weird and just weirdly weird. And so he had this obsession with this idea of someone, young man going on his mission and being set in Los Angeles and discovering the porn business. And it's just really, really, really funny. And it was kind of, I think he might have gotten it because in the beginning when he was first there, he had the chance to meet some people in the porn business and some celebrities who enjoyed going to porn shoots and things like that. And it's such a crazy business, and I got to meet a couple of people as well. But once they decided to go forth with the movie, of course, then they were interviewing a bunch of porn people, including Ron Jeremy, who they got to see in the
yeah.
film, and a bunch of really well-known porn actresses at the time. And so I really vibe with Trey to play this character and it was based on a character, based on a woman that he had met who was a porn actress. My character, which doesn't really bode well because my character's she's kind of stupid, but and I wasn't necessarily like, oh, I love playing stupid blonde women that are porn actresses with big tits. I was like, well, I'm going to try to make this different and really focus on the comedy of it because it's just funny, and that's so I had a good time playing pretty much one of only two straight actresses. There was only one other character who was not a porn actress. So I got to meet people in the industry, and work with all LA people, and that was the first time I had done the film in LA, and it was just it was a fascinating, weird time. It was really fun and just a crazy time for the guys because they were just blowing up at the time with South Park, and so I think it was just a crazy time all the way around. But that film I've seen more recently, and I appreciate it for a lot of reasons. I think it doesn't quite have the sort of what's the word, charm that Alfred Pepper Cannibal, the musical, does. Only because I think I'm nostalgic for that time and it was really nice. But Orgazmo is certainly, I think, a lot funnier than Basketball, which they didn't direct or write. They punched it up a little bit, but I wasn't like too amazed at that film. I think Orgazmo has still some of that charm that they were so good at expressing, you know.
Yeah. Do you have any memories of Ron Jeremy in the film?
I do. Ron Jeremy, I kind of met in passing a couple of times. I didn't really have a conversation with him, but I watched him do scenes, and I watched him between scenes. And it's funny because apparently he's a narcoleptic, so I'd see him nod off out of the blue, not when he was on camera, but just when he was kind of in between takes and stuff. I was like, I wonder if that's because he's truly narcoleptic, or is he just like partying all night and then can't stay awake? I don't know, but he was really dedicated to this role. He tried really hard, you know, and he was a hard worker. I remember he would try things, and he would continue to do takes, and he was pretty consistent in his takes too. For not being a real straight actor, I thought he was pretty good.
You know, I come from the Christian faith, you know, but I really hate seeing some of these, especially pastors or whatever, they use Christianity to for their own benefit, financial benefit. And one of the things I loved about South Park and movies like this is they address that a lot. And of course, a lot of people from these churches feel they're being attacked. But I think they're being exposed. Like, I love hearing them go after like the West Borough Baptist Church or Movie Guide, which is a publication I can't stand. And you know, I love it when they address these kind of people, you know, and. Yeah. But he addresses it. They address it a lot, and I wonder if it has to do with almost a rebellion of an upbringing, or what.
Yeah. You mean as far as the religious connotation?
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe that Trey wasn't brought up religiously.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure. I really think as far as, I think just the capacity that they have, Matt and Trey being super smart and creatively gifted, have the capacity to look at issues from all sides, and which is why they are so good at sort of getting in the minds of people like that, so they can make fun of them pretty legitimately because of how they can break down what the philosophies are that they're espousing and the hypocrisy behind it all.
Oh, yes. Oh, and I agree too. Yep.
Yeah, that's the true genius of those two guys and how they write together and how they're able to put out ideas that are so funny, but yet not. I mean, they've been accused of being mean-spirited, but I believe that it's all kind of in good fun.
Well, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you about a charity that I'm involved in. You remember when the Ice Bucket Challenge happened?
I do.
Yeah. Well, after the unfortunate passing of Robin Williams, who of course sang Blame Canada at the Oscars when South Park came out, which was awesome. But after he had passed away, a new charity came out, that one I was able to relate to, that involved depression and suicide, and gaining awareness to it. And it was called the Doubtfire Face Challenge. And it involved videoing yourself taking a pie in the face, and you nominate 3 people. And I thought, yes, I could try to get see if we get the industry involved in this. And I did one of these, and I sent it to a publication that reviews movies and interviews a lot of celebrities. And one of the people involved with it put a Twitter post out saying, after the Ice Bucket Challenge, what's going to be the next big challenge? So I suggested the Doubtfire Face Challenge, and I asked her if she'd do it, and she said, you'd have to nominate me first. So I threw the nomination out to her. I did the videos, did the nomination, and she says, great cause, but I'm not taking a pie in the face, but great cause, though. And I'm sitting there thinking, you miserable little hypocrite.
You told me that you would.
It's funny because they're all the time protesting stuff like South Park and stuff like the slasher films. And yeah, I've had so many people from the slasher film industry accept this challenge. But yet people in their circle, oh no, not unless it involves passing a collection plate.
Yeah. Really, it's just so apparent that religion has always provided a forum for people to feel like they fit in, and they don't have to really think too hard about what makes the world tick.
Yeah.
And it helps them abate their fear of mortality. And so I feel like, it's kind of like people that support our current president, who there are a lot of different types of people, I'm sure, that support him, but it seems like they're just I don't know, they're just kind of a little brainwashed and star smitten, and just like you said with the celebrity culture, same with religion, it gives you a chance to just be a part of a group that's really like set in their ways, and they know exactly what's going on, and they don't have to question anything,
Yeah.
Well, so how would you, if I were to ask you, how would you describe a typical Canadian?
Oh, gee.
Or Canadians as a people, what are they like?
You've never been here?
Actually, I have. I went to the Toronto Film Festival with Trey and Matt back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there on tour as a singer with this band that I was with a while back. But I haven't really spent any significant time there.
Well, how I would describe Canada, we're pretty free. I see Canada as not having a lot holding us back. I mean, we got our laws, we got our rules, but and I don't know, people either like or hate our prime minister. I kind of stay out of the whole politics thing. It's hard with Trump because he's everywhere, in your face constantly, But
yeah.
Yep. But I don't know. I find that I would like to see the arts propel it a little more, because we used to have what we call Canadian films, and we've had some classic films shot here and released as Canadian film. Now it's like American productions come down here and make films like Deadpool, and yet they're called American films because American production company behind it. And I'm like, whatever happened to Canada making movies that profit,
Canada used to be the Atlanta of filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wish, because I guess it all started with some tax incentives to shoot in Canada, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's... I don't know whether it's something to do with the government and funding. I don't know, but I think Canada can do better than it is when it comes to the arts.
Yeah, well, that's cool. And I don't know much about Canada, but what is the incarceration rate there?
I don't know.
I just imagine it to be like much lower than it is here.
Oh, could be. I know I'm not incarcerated. I tend to stay that way.
Well, don't let it happen to you.
I know there's several South Park characters that seem to land. I mean, how many times has Randy Marsh been incarcerated?
Oh.
But you mentioned singing, and I got to bring that up because you do a lot of stuff with song in South Park. Have you always been into singing and music?
Always. Ever since I was a kid, I have always just sung. I listened to the radio all the time and sang along. And the first time I was able to get into a choir in school, and that was probably 4th grade. I did that. I started taking guitar lessons in 4th grade, and I played for a few years, and then I kind of stopped until I was about 18. But I was in many choirs. I was in the Children's Chorale, which is a prestigious chorale of singers here in Denver that sing a lot of different things and go travel around. And so I was in that for a few years, and then I started taking acting classes in 7th grade and started doing musical theater in high school. I didn't really ever truly find my voice until I was probably 18 or 19 when I started my own songwriting. But music has always been my love, my passion. I'm a big Kate Bush fan. She has been my muse for many years, and I have just always been able to express myself the best through writing songs and singing. Singing is one of those things that makes me feel so good. Just physically in your body, when you sing, I believe that it heals you because it's vibrating your entire body. And I actually wish I could do more of it. I never really. I tried in LA to make it my living, but it's hard. Obviously, it's really hard to break into music, and I wanted to keep it sacred and keep it my own, and I didn't want it to be changed. And I didn't want to make it my day job. Like, I'm going to now write and co-write pop songs and spend 8 hours a day doing that. It didn't feel like that was a route I wanted to take, even though now I'm kind of like, darn it, I should have tried more, because then I could be making more royalties and make a living. But it's something that's really near and dear, and I consistently come up with new ways to express myself with music. And I'm about to do another album with a film composer in Los Angeles, a good friend of mine. His name is Mark Killian.
Okay.
And he's done a lot of work. He's South African, and so he's done a lot of movies that are filmed in South Africa. And he did the John Carpenter film that I mentioned earlier, The Ward.
Mm-hmm.
And he has his side project called The Gravy Street. And we did an album back in like 2010 with him and our friend Julio. And we did an album that Mark and I would come in, and he would play this music, and I would just improvise lyrics over it. And so it's all purely improvisational, kind of ambient, jazzy music. And it was really cool. So anyway, Mark wants to do another album, so we're going to collaborate at some point here soon. And then we're also going to be releasing an album of Stadium Anthems music, which is the film that came out that I was in November. And the film is awesome. It's really it's sort of a surrealistic, absurdist look at how the music industry has changed in the last 20 years with the sort of burgeoning of the internet, and how most music is free now, and how that changes things for artists. And so,
oh yes. What was it like playing a lead in a film like this?
What did you say?
What was it like playing the lead in a film like this? Like you're pretty central in this.
I know, really. It was an incredible opportunity that popped up. I had a friend, he does some casting here in Denver, and since I moved back, I haven't done any acting. And he sent me a Facebook note and said, hey, you should come and audition for this local film. It'd be fun. And I was like, wow, thank you for asking. I'd love to. Why not? Who cares, you know? And I went in and I was reading, there was a bunch of great female character roles in the movie, but I initially read for this character that's somewhere in her 40s, a little bit jaded, ex-musician, current realtor, and so I read for her, and I'm now 49 years old, but
you look younger.
Oh, thank you. So younger. But after I read for this character, Scott, who's the director, he said, you know, my mom always told me never to ask a woman's age, but I'm sorry you don't seem old enough to play the character, who's like basically in her late 30s or something. And I was like, oh, I love you. And so I read for another character who was really funny. She's a secretary. The name is Carrie. I played her really funny, and Scott said, "Well, gosh, you can just do it all, but why aren't they having you play or read for the lead character?" I was like, "Well, I don't know. I didn't expect to read for anything, you know." So I read for the lead character, and the lead character in the film is a songwriter, singer, guitar player, and so I think it made sense for him that not only could I provide actual experience as a musician and have that translate, but also be able to write music for the film. And I ended up writing and producing, co-producing about 9 of my own songs, and then Scott has written like 30 songs, and so we recorded about 11 or 12 of his where I sang on each one of them. And so there's 2 albums that are going to come out of this movie, and it was just an incredible experience. And I think the movie is really tight in a lot of ways, and it's definitely independent, you know, and it's not everyone's cup of tea probably, but I think it really is thoughtfully irreverent, you know. So I'm proud to have been a part in the lead. Playing the lead was just awesome. I was like, wow. Oh, and actually, one of the characters in the film, one of the actresses, is a porn actress.
Okay.
Yeah, so which is kind of funny. But she was awesome. She plays this really crazy HR director at the record label.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny. So it was awesome.
You know, when that double CD comes out, you know, I mean, feel free to come back on here.
I would love to. I would love to.
Yeah, like because we can promote that, and yeah, I'd love to have you back on. I was going to say too, you've had a lot of singing parts in South Park. Like you did Enya and the Indigo Girls. I mean, how do those particular artists get targeted for this?
Well, I mean, Enya is a pretty easy target.
I love Ornamoka Flow.
Oh my gosh, me too.
Yeah.
So that's exactly the song that I created to sound alike. You know, in the business they call it sound alike. For a commercial, since you don't want to pay Ariana Grande type fees for her song, you just make one that sounds almost exactly like it, and you pay someone $500. So the Enya song, what I did with Orinoco Flow, you know how she just mentions all these like exotic, beautiful places.
Mm-hmm.
The whole song was like places like Tucumcari, New Mexico, and Poughkeepsie, New York, and all these dumb names for places that you never ever want to go visit. And that was really fun. And then I played Alanis Morissette.
Chef's Aid.
Really
Yep.
But and then the Indigo Girls song, the title of my song was I Love Domestic Chores, because I thought it'd be funny for 2 lesbians to be like, I love vacuuming on a Saturday morning. So it was all about loving cleaning, and but in Indigo Girls style.
Yeah.
So I was able to be creative in that way, and so I appreciated that a lot. I love creating impromptu, silly songs about dumb things. It's fun.
Yeah, and you did Cartman's Mom is a Dirty Slut. Talk about that one.
Well, I don't. That one. What I did not write that one, but I just love. I just remember singing that song, and like Trey was just having a great time watching me because I was like, oh gosh, this is so. I don't want to call her a dirty slut, but it was silly. It was fun to watch the joy that was inspired in Trey by not only doing his voices but directing other people to do them, and just all the banter that would go back and forth between he and Matt was just really kind of fun to watch and see form.
Yeah, and some you got one, Chef's salty chocolate balls. Yeah, some pretty explicit stuff, and of course Mr. Hanky's helper.
Yes, just hilarious. Just yeah. That's really, thank you for letting me go down memory lane, because I haven't really thought about this in a long time.
Well, tell me, out of the Enya song, did you come up with all the lyrics for yourself?
I did. I wrote that song completely, and I also wrote the Indigo Girls song.
Okay. Did you ever hear from them about that?
You mean, about no. No.
I often wonder what how many of them like I heard, for example, when Randy Marsh was had the secret life of impersonating Lord or whatever that was. I heard that Lord loved it. I heard she had a favorable response to it. So I often wonder, when some of these celebrities are targeted, what the responses are.
Right. But I bet that Lord had watched that TV show kind of growing up, so I imagine it might have been just a little ego boost or something,
Mm-hmm. Oh, stadium anthems.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't get a very good release, did it?
No, it did not. It's very small. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's free on Amazon Prime. But the thing about distribution deals like that is, pretty much anyone can put something up on Amazon, and the only reason to have a company behind it is that they'll make sure that it's promoted, they will not make sure it's promoted. They will make sure that it's available in whatever market you deem fit, and they'll help you with the process of finding translations so that you can get it into different languages.
Mm-hmm.
But it costs money to promote, and it's barely promoted. It's all about social media. So I try to get people to watch it, and if they do, please leave a review, because it really does bode well for a film, especially an independent film, when they get a lot of reviews. And so it's really hard. I wish I was better at trying to figure out how to help promote this film. I feel like it's a cult kind of film. I feel like it has legs. I feel like it's deep and also very light, and it could really do well if it's put in front of people. And that's ultimately, it's so hard these days because there's so much opportunity to create content, so many places to let it burgeon, but it's really hard to get it out there,
Well, it looks like a good project. I watched the trailer for it, so yeah, it looks like a great project, and I'm always into movies that I'm often one of these people that goes to the theater, and I'll go to the thing that is least promoted.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Because I find when something's overexposed, like, I'm sorry, but I did not go see the Aquaman movie. I didn't go see Bumblebee, I just didn't care, I find that if something hasn't been advertised well, then I go in with my expectations open, and I find that I get more enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I agree with that. There's so many interesting movies that come out all the time that you're like, and you'll never see them. And you'll never have time to see them all.
Yeah, but you know what, though? When movies, there's some movies that weren't hits when they come out, and then they wind up finding a big cult following. I'm talking about movies like The Big Lebowski, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Office Space. These are movies that weren't huge hits at the box office when they come out, but boy, look at them now. Well, folks, if you get a chance, check out Stadium Anthems. You get to see Toddy Walters do a lead in it, and she sings. And we love hearing her sing. Well, you got to put an album out with all the South Park songs you sing.
Gosh, I should. Well, I absolutely should. I should do like covers of them now.
There you go.
They're my songs. Well, a couple of them are. That would be funny.
There you go.
Very earnestly, and if the more earnest I sing them, the more ridiculous they become.
There you go. Well, you know what?
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know what, Toddy? We're celebrating the 20th anniversary of South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. Can't believe it's been 20 years. Where's the time gone?
I know.
Yep. And you know what? When you get that double album out, I'll reach out to you maybe next year. I'll have you on again, and we can talk about these, talk about your music and your upcoming projects. Love to have you back on. It was a major honor having you come on here today.
Well, I appreciate it, and it's an honor to speak with you. And I hope Canada is doing well.
Yes. Well, we get the winter weather out there, so we're just waiting for spring. By the way, the name Toddy, I like that. Where does that originate?
Toddy is a name that my parents gave me based on a great aunt of mine. Actually, I think it was my dad's great aunt, and her nickname was Toddy. And her heyday was the 1920s. So I believe this is my theory about it, that in the 20s during Prohibition here in the States, people would find drinks, but they didn't necessarily say, "Hey, let's go have a drink. Let's go." They would use pseudonyms for things, like they would say, "Hey, let's go get a toddy," and so they'd go and illegally drink. So I feel like she might have been a little bit of a party girl, and her nickname was Toddy. So growing up, that name was it was hard. It was hard for me because it's kind of a gendered, non-specific name, and I got a lot of grief for it.
Yeah.
But what I am happy about is that they didn't name me after her real name, which is, not to offend anyone who has this name, but Bertha.
Okay.
So I really am happy I have the name Toddy now, because I think it's unique and it suits me for sure.
Well, I like it. Your email to me, it said Ms. Toddy, and I think that sounds really cool.
Well, often I'll get emails from people and they'll be like, "Hey, Todd, how are you?" Or they just don't understand. So I have to say Ms. because I'm like, oh, I just don't want to deal.
There you go.
It sounds kind of dominatrixy,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't care.
Well, I knew you was female when I contacted you, so there you go. Well, you know what? Before I let you go, I was wondering if I could get you to do a plug for my show.
Of course I can. Hello, this is Toddy Walters of the South Park movie Bigger, Longer, and Uncut as Winona Ryder. And you are listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise out of New Brunswick, Canada.
Just curious, what's it like going back home to Colorado? After being in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Well, now that I've been back for almost 8 years, which is so crazy to me, it's really nice. I had a really great, solid bunch of music friends, musician friends that I worked with in the 90s before I moved to Los Angeles again, and I'm back with those people, and they're wonderful. And Denver has changed; it's booming. It's growing so much. It's really a great time and place right now to be here. There's so many cool opportunities artistically. There's so many great museums and so many. It's just a great place to be. That's why everybody kind of wants to live here. But it's been nice to be around, with my family again as well, and get to know. I have a bunch of nieces and nephews, and it's just been really, really nice. I miss LA. I'm nostalgic for it. If there was an opportunity to work out there, I would absolutely consider living there again. But I'm happy here.
Well, that's good. Well, you know what? I thank you so much for coming on here today and taking the time to talk with me and give us insight into your world.
I appreciate being able to talk about it. It's been really fun, Greg. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, it's been an honor. You take care and God bless.
Thank you. You too. Bye.